Hello everyone, this is Moore bringing you a battle report from the West Coast GT tournament. This is day 2, game 4 of the tournament, and on the first day I went 1-1-1. The first game was a major loss, the second game was a tie, and the third game was a major win. So definitely like the way I ended the first day, my record on the first day tournament. Stay tuned and see how I do on the second day. Now, the way that this tournament runs their terrain is it's not fixed. So during our deployment and negotiation, we roll off to see who gets the placement of the first terrain. So my opponent wins the roll off, and he, without hesitation, grabs the building and places it right in the middle. And I'm thinking, interesting. He then goes on and places the hill in the middle as well. So at this point, I know what his strategy is. I know what his concerns are. He's going to put his heavy hitters, his high-priced units, behind the hill and the building, because we're to block line of sight. Now we're playing Swedish comp, which means that hills and impassable terrain block line of sight indefinitely, and the building is impassable terrain. And so what he's going to leave on his left side is, or my left side, is his shaft units to try to advance up and block up and engage in my war machines, while his big blocks come up unscathed. But I'm actually okay with that. I like that plan for myself, because I will be able to get rid of his shaft before his larger blocks advance, and my gyros will be there getting in his way and shafting him up before he gets to me. And so one of the strategies that I do is I place on my BSB the Vanguard ability, and I put my BSB in the Thunderers. And so now what I will get to do is advance my Thunderers up into the building and secure the center spot. Okay, so now as far as deployment goes, my opponent deploys from left to right. He has a Saber Tusk on his leftmost side. He then has 3 units of Iron Guts, 4 models of Lead Belchers, 3 Yetis. Behind the building, you can't see it in this photograph, there is 2 units of Mornfang Cavalry. And on its right, there is 9 Man-Eaters with the Poison upgrade, and 18 Iron Guts and Horde formation. So that's quite scary and quite concerning. He also places all of his 4 characters in that unit. On the farmost right, there is a Saber-Tusk by himself. Now, on my deployment going from left to right, you can't see the gyro, but the gyro is right in front of his Saber-Tusk to defend my war machines and make sure that he doesn't get behind my flanks. On the hill is my Slayers that are protecting the left flank of my war machines. Inside of the Slayers, there are 3 champions. On that hill, I have a cannon and an organ gun. And behind that, I placed my Master Engineer between both war machines. On the hill, there is a gyro, the second gyro. He has Vanguard and the Shatter Gun upgrade. Behind him is a unit of 23 Greatbeards, that is Longbeards with great weapons. And in front of them are the Thunderers, there's 16 of them. My gyro is right behind the hill, making sure that they can't get hit by anything, as well as being able to advance up behind the hill. And what I did here is, usually I put my flame cannon in range to be able to shoot the first turn, but in case I lose the first turn, I safeguard that by putting my flame cannon as much back as possible, because I know that the movement of these ogres are just so fast. It's such a fast army. They will be halfway through the board in the next turn, and I want to make sure I get some clear shots on them before they advance up. Okay, so that's it. And also what I have done is I've placed 2 heroes in the Thunderers and 2 heroes in the Greatbeards. I put my Smith and my Thunders with great weapons in the Thunders to give them some punch, while the Thunders can absorb damage on the charge. And also, I put my Runesmith that has armor protection. It has a 3+ armor save, 2+ armor save inside of the Great Beards, just in case there's a hero that I'm worried about. In this particular case, the Ogre has plenty, and he'll be able to accept challenges and take a minimal of, he'll definitely lose, but at least he'll absorb some wounds before getting killed. Okay, so I win the roll-off for who goes first, and I choose to go first. And what you'll see here is movement, including Vanguard, as well as first turn movement. So going from right to left, I advance my gyro up behind the hill. I'm going to let his unit advance up, and then I'll march block him later on. There's a Saber Tusk that'll probably come around my right side, so I have to worry about him as well. My Thunders advance at Vanguard up into the building, so they'll get to shoot this turn. The gyro that was on the hill also Vanguard up behind the building, and so what I've done is moved them up to slow down the shaft as well. So he's placed between the Morfang cavalry and the Yetis, and the third gyro advances up just a little bit to give adjustments for the fast movement of the Iron Guts and the Saber Tusk. Of turn 1 dwarf shooting, and this is just a slide to show how bad the dwarf shooting was. So in this tournament, I tried a strategy of having a naked cannon with a master engineer and an organ gun. So the idea is that I use the cannon in the first turn or two, and then after that I start focusing my master engineer skill on the organ gun when troops are closer. And so in this particular case, with no good shots with the cannon, I use the cannon to take out the Morfang. I hit and I roll a 1-1. So now it's up to the organ gun to do some damage. And the organ gun is tooled up with the Rune of Penetration, designed specifically for wiping out this unit. But I only get 6 hits off. And to top that off, I don't have the Master Engineer's ballistic skill, so I only creep off 2 wounds, leaving 1 fully healed and 1 wound on the second Morfang. And so I have to use my Brimstone gun to pick off a wound, and sure enough, I get 2 wounds off, killing 1 Morfang and leaving 1 wound off for this next Morfang. The Grudge Thrower takes hits enough to kill 1 model from the Horde unit, and my Thunders do fantastic. I stand and shoot against the Man-Eaters and get off 2 wounds. Ogre turn 1 charges, and so he charges his Man-Eaters into my unit of Thunders, and I like this odd. This is the bait I was hoping he would take, and he took it. So I stand and shoot and cause 2 wounds, but I like my odds here. In this unit, I have a BSB with also the Master Rune of Grungy, and also the Rune of Stoicism. So I'm stubborn, rerollable on 10. And he only has 3 ogres that could attack. Now, what makes ogres nasty is the fact that their supporting attacks are also all 3 attacks. But here, I'll only have 3 ogres attacking at any one time. So with my rerollable stubborn banner, in addition, I don't have to fight him and still get the bonus. And also, I have the shield wall. He's going to get pushed back on every turn, and when he gets pushed back, I get to shoot and pot shots at him. So I really like this setup, and I'm glad he took the bait. The next slide is his advancements. He moves his Mornfang fast cavalry up, as well as every other unit on the left side. This is a photograph of the bottom of turn 1. As you can see, he advances his iron gut units up into the top of the hill where I expected, and so I will be placing my unit on my top of the turn to block him, and so he'll be forced to charge that gyro to get it out of the way. You can't see it here, but off of the screen on the right side there is a saber tusk that I also expect him to charge in on the flank. In the center where the man-eaters and the thunderers are, you could see I lose three thunderers, and I cause no wound, but I get a pushback. So that's going to give me an opportunity to use my flame cannon and also get some shots in, and hopefully reduce his second rank, which is what caused the additional 3 wounds. You can see over on the right side he has advanced. On the left side he has advanced his Yetis. So with all the excitement, I forget to take a picture of Dwarf turn 2. And so what we have here is a picture of Ogre Kingdom, the bottom of the turn 2. And so going from left to right, just a quick summary. Now that his shaft is within charge range, I need to stop them from advancing. I need to take care of them before his horde gets there. So I have about maybe 1 or 2 more turns. With that said, I move my gyro in front of his Yetis. It's going to force him to charge my my gyro, and at least I'll hold him up for another round or 2. The Slayers advance up to block a direct charge from his iron guts into the cannon, and now he's either forced to stand where he's at, charge my Slayers, or charge my organ gun. Now the organ gun is about 6 inches farther away from my cannon, so that's really a long charge for him. But as I advance up my Slayers, I leave a gap for his saber tusk to charge the cannon. So I move my Master Engineer to block that charge. I'm thinking that he'll take the bait and charge my Master Engineer, in which case I'll stand and shoot and then just beat him in hand-to-hand combat. On the shooting phase, jumping ahead, the gyro then moves in front of his horde and tries to shaft him up. He's going to have to charge the gyro. The thought here is that I was hoping that, with no redirects, on his turn he's going to have to charge my gyro. And I'm an inch away, so the odds of him catching me are fairly large. I'll be running 7 inches and he'll be charging 2d6 plus 6 inches. But as you could see, I roll fantastic for a flee and he rolls abysmal, and so I flee 12 inches and he stumbles forward 2 inches, and which is unfortunate. I was hoping he would catch me. This way his ogres would be turned away from my unit. It's going to force him to spend yet another turn turning around and only marching 6 inches, which would give me yet another turn to keep on shooting at him. But at least now I'll be able to rally him and shaft him up in the next oncoming turns. As far as shooting is concerned, the Thunderers turn around and try to pick off that last wound on the Morfang Cav. With Thunderers, that's the advantage is now I have that armor piercing, and I think even with the 1+ armor save, it's going to be easy to take 1 wound off of the Morfang Cav. And sure enough, I do. I pick him off. Flame cannons shoot into the man-eaters. I know with only 1 rank, I'll be able to take him out pretty easy, and so I pick off the last 2, the last rank, and leave only 3 left. All my shooting, aside from that, goes into the large unit of hordes, and the shooting is abysmal. From the stone thrower does very little. Cannon does absolutely nothing. It's only the organ gun that does some damage. You really can't see the ranks, but his rank now is only 2 deep. So he's really taking a beating there, and I'll have at least a minimum of 1 more round of shooting, possibly 2. So one thing I forgot to mention was that the scenario that we're running here is called the Hag. Essentially, it's a play off for the previous scenario, which is beach money. And so the idea is that the night before, which is a Saturday night, the Beach Bunny is on the last game, giving a bonus to one of your troops, and if she sticks around by the end of the game, then you get one of the battle points. So in this particular case, she's no longer a Beach Bunny. It's the next day, and she turns into a hag, and so she carries around the hex scroll, and you get a battle point for letting it off. And so this is me trying to get one battle point, and also at my opponent's expense. So his level 1 caster, I was waiting for him to cast it, and so I could use it. Sure enough, I let it off. And as a side note, the advantage here is now that he's in that unit, he's forced to move out of the unit or have the unit only move 2 inches, which is something he doesn't want to do. So this is the bottom of my opponent's turn too, and you see a blue dice at the bottom, and that's for my Thane. Now in the combat, I make the mistake of putting my Thane into the unit, into the 10 models that fight, and he puts all of his attacks on my Thane. I get lucky that he only causes 1 wound, and at that point I realize the mistake I made. I lose him, and I lose my BSB and the ability to be stubborn and rerollable. And so from that point forward, I use my Runesmith, who has a great weapon, to give the Thunders a bit more punch, and I keep my Thane out of the combat. And so next you see the Yetis. So this is the gyro gets destroyed, but I just wanted to capture the fact that my gyro actually caused 2 wounds on his Yetis. He's done his job. He's detained him for another round. The Yetis will not be able to charge my cannons on their next turn. So this is the bottom of my turn 3, and the only movement that I make is I move my Master Engineer right behind my Slayers to block the Sabertusk line of sight to my War Machine. And I inch the Slayers just a tad bit more to make sure that the Iron Guts do not have a clear charge to the cannon. And now that the Yetis are there, they have 2 wounds on them from my gyro. I open up my organ gun and evaporate that unit. So the threat is now gone. I'm no longer worried about his shaft. My Master Engineer could take on his Sabertusk, and his Iron Guts just will not advance due to my Slayers. So then I focus all of my shooting on the Man-Eaters and the approaching Iron Guts. My Fame Cannon shoots into the Man-Eaters. I kill 1 and cause 2 wounds on the second target. And now I'm liking this. I know I know I'll lose a little bit more on my Thunderers, but now with only 6 attacks on my 10 versus my 10, I should do very good in depleting that unit much faster than I have been. I managed to get rid of almost a full rank, so now he's only left with 2 ranks, or less than 2 ranks on his Iron Guts, and you can't see them on that photograph. So here we are, bottom of turn 3, Ogre Kingdom. What you see here is during the movement phase, he moves out his Slaughtermaster level 1, who was a frog at the time, so that he could advance his horde up 12 inches. He'll definitely be in charge range the next turn. He moves up his Iron Guts to get a charge into the War Machine, and moves up his Lead Belchers to get a shot into the Longbeards. Add charges his Man-Eaters into the Thunderers. As far as shooting is concerned, he shoots into the Longbeards and does absolutely nothing. His magic is uneventful as well. my turn 4, and my cannon does absolutely nothing again, and my grudge thrower misfires and cannot shoot this turn or the next turn. But my, oh man, my flame cannon makes work of his iron guts. They'd hit every single unit. He makes out all his lookout sirs, and I evaporate all but one character. Now, here's a mistake made by my opponent. I disagreed with him, but, I didn't want to drag it on. He claimed that wounds did not carry over. So in previous rounds, one model was carrying 2 wounds on it, and he just said that the multi wounds caused by the flame cannon just caused 1 and not D3, and so those wounds did not carry over. That is going to come back to bite me in this game. So now the organ gun shoots into this unit. By this time, the organ gun, the flame cannon had reduced the models to less than 5, so we randomized on all of the models, and I caused a wound on everyone but the unit champion. So on this slide, you see that my Slayers charged his unit of Iron Guts, 3-man big, and he flees. And so I just placed the Slayers of each corner to represent the spot where they're at. But here's a commentary. At the top of the turn, I had debated, should I shaft up his horde unit and throw my gyro to block him up, and also to sacrifice my runesmith so I could do a double flee. But I think, he only has 1 model left for me to claim victory points on the whole horde unit. And if I could get 3 wounds directing all of my attacks onto that champion, I should be able to kill him and get the victory. And so I don't. I hold and get ready for the charge on the next turn. Now, mind you, he should have only had 1 wound left. But my opponent played the rule wrong, not carrying them over, so now he has 3 wounds left. So this screenshot is the bottom of turn 4 after the magic phase. So he charges his unit of Iron Guts into my Great Beards. He rallies his second unit of Iron Guts and advances his Slaughtermaster up until the tower. His level 4 casts Transformation of Kondon and transforms himself into a Hydra. The only saving grace I have there is that my Thane with 2 runes of iron is there. So the Hydra can only attack my Thane. So this is the bottom of turn 4 after the combat. Oh my gosh. Those ogres brought the pain. They reduced my unit to half, and of 6 attacks, I squeeze in only 1 wound. Oh my gosh. I have yet 1 more turn to attack, else I am going to completely lose this battle. Bottom of Dwarf turn 5. So my Slayers declare a charge on his single 3-man unit of Iron Guts, and they flee. I redirect into his Lead Belchers, and they flee as well. You could see the white base right behind the Citadel, how far they fled from my Slayers. And then, oh my gosh, the organ gun unloads on that Slayer that was the Slaughtermaster that was standing next to the castle, and it is evaporated. Wish I could have used those 20 shots somewhere else, but boy, did that get the job done, and I secured the points there. The Great Beards and the Iron Guts have a pillow fight, and not much happens. This is the bottom of turn 5. His units don't rally, and he issues a challenge here, and I accept with my Thane. Now my thought is hatred against his general should give me the ability to get the final wounds and kill him, and I could focus all of my attacks on the champion. Now here's where I make a mistake, and I'm not sure how to handle this. at the time, only the Hydra only could see the Thane. And now he's moved, so we decide that he could now attack rank and file, even though he's not touching rank and file. And so he causes havoc, and absolutely his Thunderstop really is what causes all the wounds, with the auto hits and no parry save. Well, I don't get the parry save anyways. He kills all of my units, and leaves only the champion standing. And with that, my Stoic Banner is gone, and I need Snake Eyes to hold, and I don't hold, and he runs me down. Now, we're at the top of the bottom of turn 5, and we have to call it a game. I'm thinking with one more round of shooting, I could easily get the points that I need to win the game. Unfortunately, we were out of time, and we end with a draw.